Hello, welcome to Football United TV. Thank you for tuning in today. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. And we haven't done a vlog for a very long time, actually, about a week. And I'm glad to say I've got Gem and Ladimus Prime on today. How are you guys doing?
Not bad, not bad. How are you? How are things?
Brilliant, mate. Yeah, standard, rainy, horrible couple of days, hasn't it been? Weather-wise, but not for you, Jem. Obviously, you're probably happy to see the rain at the moment. Yeah, you guys all good though. Yeah, you're happy about the Champions League draw that's happened yesterday. You feel comfortable with the group that Chelsea got?
I think in terms of what the teams we've got, I think it's kind of I would say a walk in the park because I think every team that gets to the Champions League has to be half decent anyway, so you still have to be there to perform. But we should get the job done looking at it, and I am confident that we can finish top of the group. Sevilla might be a bit of a problem because they're a bit of a bogey team. Obviously, they've lost a couple of decent, or lost one decent player that I know of in Regulon, didn't they? So it will be interesting.
Will be, yeah. Prime, what do you also make as a Chelsea fan? Do you think it's a good group for you? Do you think Seville
Yeah,
will be a tough opponent as well? Do you think they might actually be able to do their trickery on you like they have done to teams in Europa League?
yeah. I mean, in theory, they should be a challenge, but we know Sevilla like playing in the Europa, so maybe they'll finish third. Rennes, I mean, they've just lost their goalkeeper in Mendy, and I don't know much about them, but I do know they played Arsenal a year or two ago, and they gave them a pretty good game. I mean, Krasnodar, know nothing about them either. But with the players we brought in this summer, the quality that we have, we should get out of it with little to no trouble. If we struggle to get out of this group, then questions need to be asked.
Indeed. And what do you think about, anyway, just like Chelsea recently in the Premier League as well, to add on to this? Like, do you think that the players like Werner and Havertz will be exceptional in Champions League and they feel more comfortable in the Champions League at the moment, seeing as they're still getting used to the Premier League?
Lampard's got a bit of a job in his hand. I think he needs to try and find his best 11, and I don't think he knows that at the moment. And I think that's purely because we've not had everyone fit and back for him to make that option. But the pressure will be on, and yeah, it's Champions League, so you expect your best players to play in most games, in my eyes. So we'll just have to see what he does with that, really.
Yeah, do you think he's going to be all right there, Ladimus? Like, do you think he'll be able to do the job for him? I mean, seeing as, like what happened with Bayern Munich last year, not last year, but the last Champions League season. Do you think this is sort of like a time to get back into it? Because I think Frank Lampard's been put down a little bit by a lot of different fans from different clubs. Do you know what I mean? And it's a hard job for him. Do you know what I mean? He's still learning, isn't he? And that little thing that happened with him and Jose Mourinho the other night, the little squabble on the pitch side. Do you know what I mean? It showed that character that he has got to be a really good manager, I think, and battle other managers that think they're much higher than him.
I mean, this was always going to happen with the players that we brought in, even though majority of them are unfit. With the players we brought in, people have been expecting and saying Chelsea should challenge, Chelsea should win the league. And then when Chelsea fans have that same expectation, people say that we're delusional, they still have to settle in. So it's like, what is it then? Which one is correct? Also, it's a thing of Frank is young himself and he's still learning. Yes, he's making mistakes that to us seem quite, they're simple mistakes that he shouldn't be making. But for example, the game against Liverpool, if Christensen doesn't get sent off, we go in 0-0. Something happens in the second half, we win the game. No one complains about the tactics and what he did. Against Spurs, if we're clinical enough in the first half, we put the game to bed at 2-0, maybe 3-0. Then even if Spurs score a goal late on at the end, we still win the game. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think, to be honest, people that think the players, you've got to bear in mind with Chelsea, they've signed pretty much half the team, half the squad, and it's going to take time for them to feel fit. The fans that think that we were going to hit it running are just deluded in my eyes. I just never thought that was going to be the case. So I do think we have to give him a bit of time. You've got to bear in mind, we ain't had no Ziyech. You know, Pulisic is a big player for us last season. And he's been injured up to now. I think you get them back, get them playing together. Hopefully they can stay fit, along with Kante as well, because I think Kante is important. I think we do need him in the middle of the park, next to either Kovacic or Jorginho, ideally Kovacic more so. But then he's got to suss out the defence as well, because at the moment I think we've got too many centre backs. You've got Christensen, you've got Tamor, you've got Rudiger, and Thiago Silva, and he's still got to suss out who's his best too. And from what I've seen, I think it's got to be Zuma and Thiago Silva. I think Tamori could potentially be something. Like in my eyes, I think he could take the stage, but I just think he needs a bit more time. I don't think we can just rush him back into it and playing with Thiago Silva. I don't know what you think about that, and also you've got Chilwell as well, who's going to need a bit of time to begin. He's come back from injury.
Corey had that great start, didn't he, last season, and that great goal that sort of put him on the world stage a little bit. You know, like there's something in him that needs to be found out, and I think maybe Frank Lampard is the right manager to get that out of him, and especially the young players, the youth players that you've got like Mason Mount. I think he's the best manager for him. Like any other manager they could have had in the past, I don't think would have got out anything from him like Frank Lampard could. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that, but I just think at the same time they've maybe been overplayed a bit, and that ain't been his fault. I just don't think that we've had a squad depth, especially last season, but this season we have, and there are some, world-class players or very good players in the team now that will probably bench the likes of Abrahams and Mounts, and it's not a bad thing. And this is what Chelsea fans need to understand. It's not a bad thing having them on the bench. You just need to get them, just let them in, get them watching how our best 11's playing, whether it's with or without, and just slowly get them to go into it as the season goes on. You know what I mean?
What do you guys make of the other teams in the Premier League that are in it and their groups? Do you think it's tough for the rest of them, or do you think they've got it easy?
It's tough to judge things because of a lack of a pre-season. So Chelsea starting off slow, Man United starting off slow. City seems to look like they're starting off slow. Even Liverpool, yes, they're still winning their games, but they're also looking quite slow and sluggish, not their usual selves. A lack of a pre-season is really affecting things. So I don't think we're really going to see teams kick on until maybe another 2 months, because like we have a round of internationals now and we come back and we're straight into Champions League football. There's no rest for any of these players, and especially it's the Premier League. Like in other, leagues in La Liga or Bundesliga, they're going to get an international, or they're going to get a winter break.
Yeah.
So they're going to get at least a bit of a rest. But you're not getting that here unless, for example, Chelsea now are locked out of the Carabao Cup. So that's at least a few weeks or a few days rest when, other teams are going to be playing. So maybe that's a bit of an advantage for us in some way, but I guess we'll see. The season will be interesting, though.
Do you think, so Spurs have played quite a lot of games, haven't they? They're pretty much match fit now, aren't they? They're raring to go. They've had the Europa League games. Yeah, so they still had more games than everybody else in the Premier League. And this is where I come in to worry about Man United playing them on Sunday. The fact that they're raring to go, they're match fit, they know their squad, and they've brought in quite a few players even recently, haven't they? And it's just, I don't think Bale's going to play, is he, until after the international break. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting, isn't it? Definitely the Premier League this season, and especially for Man United. I'm pretty much grimming out about this Jadon Sancho deal and all that. The deal that is not going to happen.
Well, and it's been a bit, if it doesn't happen, it's going to be a bit upsetting for you guys, really, because it's been spoken about so much. In terms of Kai Havertz and how long it took us to get him, it was the same sort of length as that, you know what I mean? I did expect you guys to get him over the line, but it looks like Dortmund are looking to play ball with these guys for whatever reasons. The only reason I can think of is purely to do with what you're offering them, So I can see Sancho going to United. I think he's also did agree personal terms with you guys quite early on. It's just that he didn't get the fees agreed. And I've seen Dembele. There's talks about Dembele, was it, from Barcelona coming over. I mean, is he going to improve the Man United squad? Does he go in straight away? No. For me, like Jadon Sancho, if he comes, he starts. Other than that, you look at the players that you're looking to bring in, like Sarr and Dembele. They ain't starters. They're just squad depth for Man United.
I'd rather Sarr, Gem. I definitely would rather Sarr over Dembele, just because I'd rather a player be able to play 85 to 90% of the league and every other competition we're in than Dembele. I think he played, what was it, about 4 games last season?
Yeah, no, and that's not good enough. But there's no doubt about his quality. I mean, I remember the World Cup when he was fully fit and he was playing for France, and it was immense. He had some serious potential, but it seems like he's a little bit like Christian Pulisic. I don't want to say that, but it seems to get injured quite frequently, and I don't know why and what. There must be a serious injury in the past. He just can't seem to cover from it. But that's the risk you're going to take with him. And how much is he going to cost to get into Man United? We know.
I think it's wages, isn't it? So I think Liverpool were offering him half of what he's getting at Barcelona. I think it's around 200,000, and I think that was the reason why he rejected him. To be fair, he would have sat on the bench for 200,000 a week. I think we all would, wouldn't we? So if he was 100,000 sitting on the bench, was like, nah, not really, not really keen on that. Because why would you not want to join Liverpool? I don't understand. Like, it has to be something to do with wages and a little bit of greed. And I've heard that news today is that even Paul Pogba's been on the phone to Dembele to try and convince him to come. I mean, that to me is bad news. Like, you don't want to try and convince players to come to your club. Like, you want players that want to come. Like Werner, the way he's like, I'm so happy to be in the Premier League. Chelsea's a big club. I'm glad to be here. And that he probably wouldn't. I don't think Dembele actually would feel the way he would say if he signed for us and said, like, I'm glad to be here. I don't think it'd be. Yeah, and apparently they're going to go in for him to buy him and not a loan, right? So that's even worse.
I don't think his heart's set on you guys. I just think that if the wages are right, he'll go, and that's what it is. And that's not, like you said, that's not what we want. You don't want players that are going to go there and not, even though they're going to be wearing the Man United shirt, not actually, giving their everything. I feel like with him, he'll just go there and just plod along, and, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really think his eyes are on it. And why would it be? I mean, you're at Barcelona anyway. You're probably getting paid well. They just want to get you off the books because they're probably suffering in terms of wages with him anyway. So, I don't know. Tough one.
Who wants a wet weather holiday from Barcelona, to Manchester United for the Glazers? I mean, come on. Bad pick. I'd rather probably go China for loan for a year and get like 500,000 probably, just to be playing 4 games. But he is injury prone, like you said. I just don't think it's a risk that United should take. It's like a fish out of water. Do you know what I mean? It's trying to get back in the ocean. To me, that is a really good way of saying it. And they just can't get there. They're in a muddy puddle, I think. That's the problem, and they just can't get out of it. And it is to do with the owners. It kind of reminds me of Moneyball. Have you ever seen that film?
No, I haven't.
With Brad Pitt, so it's about a baseball team, and the owners pretty much say your budget's 38 million, but he's like, we can't compete with the top and all that. Like, teams are getting better and better, and we're just looking at profits of stadium capacity and fans, etc., etc. And it just sort of feels a similar thing. Like Arsenal, they sort of had it before they got in the footballing director of Edu, and it just things have changed, and I think that's what's lacking at Man United anyway. But it's going to be a great Champions League, I think, for us. Even PSG will want revenge, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, and I think with Man United, touching on them, I think there's 3 key positions that I feel you guys need to fill still, and one of them being left back. And I know you've got Alex Ellis, who seems like he might be coming by the looks of it, but again, you don't know Man United at the moment. Yeah, they don't seem to be able to get it across the line. And then you look at the centre back situation, and is Lindelof good enough for Maguire? I don't think so. So again,
which of their centre backs are good enough though? Because my whole thing about centre backs is, unless you're an elite level centre back like a Van Dijk, Ferdinand, Terry, Ramos, that who you play with, you can push them up a few levels. You need to build a partnership. And if Maguire is the guy you spend 85 mil on, that's not a problem. But who do you partner him with? Bailly's never fit. Axel Tuanzebe's too young. Lindelof's not good enough. In my opinion, I think Smalling would have been the perfect partner, but he's now being sold. So
is he back just tonight, isn't it? I think it is, right? Recently, Prime, right? Today.
What, Smalling?
Yeah.
yeah, that deal's being wrapped up. So it's like, what do you now? Do you now spend big money on another centre back, which again isn't a problem, but who's out there right now that's
Upamecano, that's
available?
for me.
That's Marcano. That's it. That's what I
But
think.
again, he's signed a new contract, which you won't be able to pay out the release clause until next season.
Who, the Bali?
Would money not talk? Like, could you not like just make look if they're going to forget the Sancho deal because it looks like they're just not bothered about paying the 108 million. Why don't you just go for Upamecano? And if it's going to cost you 60 million, I mean, Man City buy their defenders for around 50 million, don't they? Even Ake was 40 million, so it's only an extra 20 million if it is going to be that. But what do you think the price would be for a prolific centre back at the moment? I mean, he's got to be top 10 in the world, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, his release clause apparently is like 15 mil, something like that. Because I'm interested in him because I want Chelsea to buy him next summer. If you were to buy him now, considering the fact there's 3 days left in the window,
You got enough. You got
maybe 100 mil.
is lad, right, mate?
Yeah, I know, and I want more. I'm selfish. Probably maybe 100 mil. There's 3 days left in the window. Not Lille. Leipzig need their own replacement for Upamecano, and they don't want to sell him right now. So you have to pay like 100 mil probably.
You agree with that,
Why don't you just do a Chelsea and just find someone that's been there and done it, for example, that's not going to be as expensive? The only one I can think of is Hummels. Someone like that who will just come in for a year. Bad part with Maguire, and then next season.
Who would be a good signing for that? Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans. Well,
Gem.
would they?
Do you know where Hummels is?
Bayern Munich.
Dortmund.
Oh, he went to Dortmund again.
That'll be interesting. Can we buy your other player then? I don't know whether it'll work. They'll be like, "Are you serious?"
Plus, we can say all of this, but the way the United board move, would you even be able to get a centre back in with 3 days left?
They kind of did it with Maguire, didn't they? They hung on right to the end, pretty much. I don't think it was as close as this, but they were sort of trying a penny pinch, weren't they? And going, look, we'll only pay.
Again, they had to pay the full.
In the end,
Leicester's full amount.
Yeah, in the end, and that's why I think there's like that. To me, I'm in the 1% club where I think if they do put that offer in, of course they'll accept it. If Jadon Sancho actually put in a transfer, what do you call it? Request. Yeah, then I think it would move smoothly. I think they'd accept the bid, even below 108.
But even then, with a transfer request, do you actually have to sell the player? Because a transfer request only means that the player wants to leave. Because how many times has Zaha put in a transfer request and he's still there?
But it's a sort of unhappy thing, isn't it? When you do it, like the fans of the club will be like, "Oh, well, we don't want him anymore." Do you know what I mean? And it just brings this uncertainty about like his future at the club. So that's why I think he hasn't come out with it, because it's 3 days to go. Why would you put in a transfer request 3 days to go? You'll ruin your profile at the club. You know what I mean? I just don't. I wouldn't do it as a player anyway. Maybe like a month ago or so. You know what I mean? So they can sort it all out. But 3 days to go, putting a transfer request will be very tight, wouldn't it? It'd be like Zaha trying to do it with Crystal Palace, and then it never happened.
Yeah. Plus, I think for Sancho, I don't think it's the right time for him to leave right now. I think, I'm not even saying this. He doesn't. There's no reason why if even he wants to go to United and that's the club, fine. But he doesn't need to leave right now. United may need him right now, but he doesn't need to go. He can still wait another year and continue to develop.
Well, Jude Bellingham's gone there. He chose Dortmund over a lot of other clubs, and he's another English talent. So there must be something good about the club that invites people to stay. If
they know how to develop young talent, and it's like if he comes in now, he's 100 mil. Look at how the English media have treated Sterling. They treated Pogba. Look at how they treat these expensive players, and because of their price tag, they're going to demand automatic success. Particularly with United, he's like Pogba was brought in to be the icing on the cake and bring United back to winning titles again. and that hasn't happened. And a lot of it's due to your board not backing your managers and stuff like that. Sancho comes in. There's no guarantee that the club will continue to back Ollie or any of your other managers. And if there's not success immediately, and I know that's not fair to have that pressure, but there's not success immediately, there's going to be questions asked and everything, and he's going to be scrutinized. And I'm not saying he can't handle that pressure, but he doesn't need that right now.
That might be part of the reason why Man United and the board are not looking to invest yet. It's probably because they don't have the confidence in the manager. And that's the thing. You could sign this great player, but he might not get the best out of him. And maybe they've got question marks over Solskjaer. And that might be a bit of the issue as well, because they don't want to bring in this top quality player and then, like you said, he just doesn't perform under this manager. Could be the problem. It could be, you know.
Do you think? What was I going to say? Do you think pretty much Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the only manager in the Premier League that isn't being backed with exactly what they have behind them? You know what I mean? The tools that they've got, like the money that they've got. I mean, you can say like, oh, maybe Fulham. What's his name? The manager of Fulham. Oh my God,
Scott Parker.
Maybe you could say like, oh, he hasn't been backed, like, you know, but they probably have. To be fair, do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Ollie's not being backed. I feel like he's the only manager, but you disagree with me, Gem.
No, I agree with you 100%. You've only got to look at what the top six clubs have done so far, and they've all kind of improved. And even Arsenal, who were in the same bubble for a long time, where they couldn't improve their squad, now slowly starting to add these, you know, decent players to their squad to strengthen them. So I'm a little bit weird for a club like Manchester United, who are the biggest, in my eyes, the biggest, not to react based on what everyone else is doing at the moment. But like I said, the only thing I can think of, like you said, is that they just haven't got confidence in Ollie and they don't want to invest tons of money when they're not sure on the manager. That's the only answer I can think.
It's weird though, because you sack a manager like Jose Mourinho, and then you get Ole because you have the confidence in that person, and then a year and a half later he's not being backed. And he even said sorry today, didn't he? The fact that he couldn't exploit the transfer market this summer, which he pretty much said at the start of it, and it doesn't look good. But he'll never come out, and he is like in the middle of a shit sandwich, isn't he? He really is.
It don't make sense because he is Manchester United as well. You know, you think he's one of you guys. He's been there. He's done it. He's a legend at you guys for what he did and whatever. You think that would show the support that Lampard's getting for Chelsea. You know, another idol. You know, back in the day, and that you think they'd all, you know, back their own more so in that sense. But who knows?
So who do you hope this weekend for the Premier League? Let's end up on that. Where who are you playing? Remember?
Tomorrow.
Crystal Palace at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, is that an early kickoff as well?
12 p.m. Yeah.
There we go. Right. How are you feeling about that? Obviously, they've not been doing too badly. They trounced Man United 3-1 as myself. But yeah, how are you feeling about this? Comfortable?
Crystal Palace are, you know, known as giant killers. They've got their counter-attack is amazing. Obviously, we all know main guy is Zaha, but Ayew, you know, he can pop up with a goal. They've got Batshuayi. Well, Batshuayi can actually play against us, but they've got Eze as well, who's a young, creative midfielder. We should be able to get through it again, but if Frank does something and messes with the lineup, then I don't. Well, we should get through it. 3-1, Chelsea.
Just quickly, when you keep, because obviously I see you've got to talk about this quite a lot. When you say messing up the lineup, what is he meant to do with what we've got at the moment? What is it he's mucking up?
No, I don't even mean necessarily the lineup. I mean in terms tactically, because I understand with the injuries, there's not much he can actually do. But tactically, I don't necessarily understand what he's doing, and that's not even me even blaming him. I just personally don't understand what's happening at times.
For me, tactically, if you're going to try something you haven't before, it either works or it don't. If it don't work, then you need to suss out another tactic. And I think that's what he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, no, and I agree. But I'm just saying I don't understand it necessarily. Because it's like...
I do to a degree, because we're 3 games in, and I think people forget that. We're only 3 games in.
Yeah.
players that he brought in, and he's still, we know where we think they should play. He's the manager. He needs to find out where he thinks.
Exactly, and that's my big thing about it. Lack of a pre-season messes everything up because he doesn't get to see what works, what doesn't, and also injuries. Like I watched back Brighton game and the Liverpool game. Against Brighton, people were complaining we didn't play with any wingers, but it looked like he was trying to flood the midfield and create some sort of havoc to try and create more chances that way. To be fair, it did work because we still won the game 3-1. Against Liverpool, we were sitting back and playing on the counter. Christensen gets sent off. He takes off Havertz, which, in my opinion, yeah, we didn't win the game, but it made sense. Take off Havertz, keep Mount on, who will work hard defensively. Try and keep the shape and try and get through the second half, maybe nick a draw. Liverpool go 1-0 up quickly, go 2-0 up due to a Kepa error. Other than that, did they really create anything? Not really. We get a penalty. Jorginho misses. If we score that penalty, that's 2-1. Who's to know in the last few minutes of the game what could happen? Personally, I don't think Lampard did anything wrong when you look back in hindsight. But in the moment watching the game, it's just something I didn't personally understand. But I'm trying to be more aware about that.
But that's the difference between us and Liverpool and probably Man City as well, is that Liverpool, they know their strengths. They know who to play, where, what, done at the moment.
Exactly.
We've got these players and we're like, yes, we're on par with them, but where do they go? Where do we put them? That's the problem we've got at the moment. And you've got to be patient. But in terms of the Palace game, I think we'll win. Confident we'll win. I think we need to anyway. I think we need to bounce back. I'm going to go with a 2-0.
2-0. I'm going to go for a 4-0 from Chelsea. There you go.
4-0. I'd love that.
I just think you'll do it. Like I think Gem said, I think like how he's trying to work out which tactics and which positionings of the players would be best going forward. And I think they'll use it against Crystal Palace. And I think Crystal Palace don't know either what they're going to do. And they knew what Man United are going to do because we all know what Man United are going to do at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So
you're going to get a penalty and win.
Yeah, Hernandez, isn't it, at the moment? Well, I'll take that. But yeah, another prediction for you guys, just because it's my club. United versus Spurs. What do you think will happen there?
No, I was just going to say, from what I've seen recently with Spurs, I was quite shocked that we didn't beat them, to be honest, in terms of the chances we had. And one of our biggest problems was that we just weren't clinical enough last season. It seemed to show in that game with the youth players, and we had too many chances that we should have put in the bed. Now, if that was, for me, a Martial or a Greenwood in their position, I reckon you would have seen Man United put them away and tuck them away very quickly. So, in my eyes, if Tottenham play like they did against Chelsea for most of it, or I'd say 60 minutes of that game, then I can only see one winner. And I'm confident Man United will beat them. So I'd say, again, I'd probably say, I don't even think they're going to score Tottenham. I think it'll be a 2-0 Man United. Confident.
Brilliant, Gem. I like you a lot more now, mate. How about you, Prime? What you saying?
All right, the last game you guys played was the first game out post-lockdown. A lot of United fans were saying that they'd walk all over Spurs and everything. In that game, in my opinion, the only reason why United won was due to an Eric Dyer error. I look at this Spurs team, I look at how galvanized that they are. They're good tactically, and yes, they are prone to a few errors. But look, for example, that Chelsea game, Jose does something tactically or gives an inspirational speech. They go into the second half, they equalise, and they're able to win it on pens. Jose's brought something to this team, and yes, it's still early on, but I see no reason why they can't be Man United right now.
There's definitely going to be a little bit more to the documentary because they're doing another one, aren't they, I think, for this season. So there'll be a little bit of a spat going on between Ole and Mourinho. Obviously, in the press today, I've seen it on Sky Sports where, I think Ole heard about Mourinho's back chat to him or whatever, and he's sort of like, I'm a humble man, you know me, I don't, I'm not that sort of guy. I don't do the mind games and stuff, and he appreciates him as a manager. So yeah, I don't know. I think Mourinho might try and pump him up and get something out of him, like he did to Lampard the other night. But I think a draw. I think 2-2. I wish I was more confident. I'm just not at the moment. There's so much stuff going on around Man United and the background, and it's just sort of like I'm just not confident. I like our team. I like what we're doing, but I think we do need to build in order to compete with the rest of the top 6, whoever they are right now. Because I think Everton are in there at the moment, but.
If you look at what Man United did at the end of last season, though, I thought Man United fans would be a lot more confident in terms of the way you guys played, because I think you had like some crazy record, didn't you, when you conceded the less one of I think like, out of the top 20 clubs in the league. I think you were like up there with like the least goals conceded, but also scoring, averaging like 2 to 3 goals, a bit more confident going into the season. So yes, I think you strengthened, but then. I think you've seen flashes of what you can expect from Man United if you can get yourself fit and back at that level. So we'll see.
Agreed. Guys, we'll end up there. Thank you very much for joining us today or tonight or whatever. Friday night, loving it. I might go and have a few beers now and chill out and watch something on Netflix. I'm not too sure, but do you want to shout out all your social medias and that and let everyone know where they can find you?
Twitter for me is just Gem_4.
Yeah, Twitter, Ladimus Prime X, Twitch, Ladimus Prime #8.
Brilliant. And thank you everybody for tuning in and subscribe to us on YouTube, Football United TV. And guys, hope to get you on again soon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
No problem, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.